So I've never told anyone this story, because how the hell do you admit to your family you were almost abducted when you were 11 years old? It was 2005 and a usual summer day for me. I got up about noon, went on a bike ride with my brother, then came home and spent most of the remaining daylight in our above-ground pool. I was relaxing and intent on spending the rest of the night playing video games. I decided to check my MySpace profile really quickly and spend some of the energy on my games there. But as I was finishing off my Dog Wars energy bar and about to close the browser to head downstairs to play some PlayStation, I got a sudden friend request. Ali, 13, who was 3 hours away from nowhere, Kentucky. I clicked the name because I didn't know an Ali, not even an Allison, or really any girls whose name began with A. And she was pretty. 11-year-old me just scoffed. Why would she want to be friends with me? And I almost ignored it. Almost. I accepted the request, and with not much else to do, I sent her a message, asking a simple question like, should I know you from somewhere? She told me we'd not met, but that she was friends with one of my friends, Mike. I checked out her profile and saw that she and Mike had shared a lot of common interests and were on each other's friends list. So what she was saying checked out. I didn't message Mike to ask him about her, but I was a very trusting young boy and had no reason to believe she was anything but what she said she was. For the next few weeks, I'd talk to her every night, for no less than 3 hours usually. We'd just chat about school, music, television, typical kid stuff, and I didn't really think anything about it, than just being MySpace friends. That is until she said that she liked me. I sort of laughed it off, thinking she just meant like, in the way friends like each other. But she clarified that she meant she had feelings for me and wanted to meet me in person. She lived pretty far away from me, so I didn't really see how this would be possible. I knew my parents were not about to take me to some girl I'd met online, and quite honestly, I wouldn't want them to. They were decent parents and all. I just never felt I could talk to them about these kinds of things, so I just sort of shrugged it off. I told her it'd be hard for us to meet, because as much as I like riding my bike, a 3-hour bike ride to a part of the state I'd hardly even seen before was not something I'd be comfortable doing. She was very understanding and said that she at least wanted to talk on the phone, instead of just messaging. I agreed, but told her never to call my number and to always let me be the one to call her, because I didn't want my parents picking up and asking questions. She understood, so I called her. The first time I got her dad, and he gave me a gruff, "Who is this?" It was weird though, because I had the phone with me at the computer and told her I was calling, and she said she had the phone with her as well. But I didn't think anything of it and told him it was James and that I was looking for Ali. He told me to hold on a second, and there was a rustling sound on the phone, like someone trying to make it sound like they were handing it over. Again, I didn't really think anything of it, when then I heard a high-pitched, "Hello?" We talked for a few minutes, then she said she had to go because her dad was expecting a call as well. I shrugged it off and told her to just message me so we could talk again later. We kept messaging back and forth for a while, and before I knew it, it was almost the end of summer. She was unhappy still not having met me in person, so she posed an idea. She said there was an end-of-summer event going on at a lake near my house, and she said that her and her family used to go there sometimes, and that she could probably talk them into going there for the event. Now, my family usually went to the area on the 4th of July, and having just had a nice time there, it wasn't too hard for me to convince my folks as well. A few nights later, she let me know that they had agreed, and that she was super excited to finally meet me. She told me she was going to kiss me as soon as she saw me, which made me blush, so I tried my best to make it sound like it wasn't a big deal, like I was some stud who'd kissed plenty of girls before, but I wasn't. I was totally pumped to finally kiss a girl, and it was only a few nights away. I had a hard time sleeping the next couple of nights, and I stayed up most of the night talking to Ali. We were both excited and couldn't wait to meet. It was very much a magical experience. The night before, I think I stayed up until 8 a.m. talking to her. So the day had come, and after an early afternoon bike ride and a short swim, our family loaded into the car, and my dad took the truck so that me and my brother could take our bikes to the lake with us. There was plenty of bike trails, and we always enjoyed riding there. But I told my brother I wasn't going to be hanging with him the whole night, and would only ride with him a little bit before I went to meet another friend. He wanted to tag along like little brothers do, but I quickly convinced him he didn't want to hang out with me because the kids were mean, and I was only hanging out with them because of one of them. He thankfully didn't ask any questions after that. About an hour later, and the sun was starting to set. My brother said he was going back to meet with our parents anyway, as he didn't like riding in the dark. He already had a habit of crashing as it was, so when I ventured off on my own, it was without hindrance. I made my way to the picnic area Ali had agreed to meet me at, and I sat on one of the tables with my bike, resting against the side. I sat for a long time, so long that I started to get worried and was ready to leave because the fireworks were about to start and Ali hadn't shown up yet. I stood up and jumped down from the picnic table, and just as I did, a rusty old white pickup truck pulled up beside the tables. The man inside reached across the cab to roll down the window and gave me a weird smile, telling me that he was Ali's dad and that he was going to take me to her. I started feeling strange about the situation, so I just gave him a blank stare and said, "What?" He turned the engine off, thinking maybe I couldn't hear him over the sound of it, and climbed out of the truck. "I said I'm here to take you to Ali. Hop on in," he said, opening the passenger door and motioning for me to climb in. The truck was full of garbage, and it looked very dirty. I could smell oil and other things coming from the truck, as I gave a crooked look and told him I wasn't going to get in. As he grabbed my arm and pulled me towards the truck, I realized pretty quickly what he was all about. "Get in the damn truck," he barked, squeezing my arm so tightly that I thought it was broken. I pulled away, practically giving myself an Indian burn as I told him I was leaving. But he came after me, so I did the only thing I could think to do to repel a grown man twice my size, and probably thrice my age. I reared back and kicked him square in the genitals. I didn't bother to wait to see how he'd handled the blow, and hopped on my bike, pedaling with all my might back to the other side of the lake where my family was. He didn't follow me. At least I don't think he did. And if he had, he might have seen my dad, who was a rather large guy, and definitely not someone you'd want to fight after he'd had a few beers. I never saw him again, and when I got home and went to message Ali to tell her what a jerk her dad was, the profile was gone. I saw Mike just before school started, and he said he had no idea who Ali was, and didn't even remember adding her on MySpace. It wasn't until some years later that I realized how terribly close I'd come to being abducted, and God knows what that man wanted to do to me. Ali's dad, let's not meet again.